Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Yin practice. Before we get started today, today's Yin practice is all about the hands, fingers, wrists. So I'm also going to incorporate some other stretches for the body, but if you wanted to just focus on the hands, then you can also just do that part of the practice, or maybe you're traveling or something and you want to have a little Yin practice and you can just do the hand portion. If you are coming with me for the whole body part, then I'll invite you to get started down on the back and just have one of your blocks nearby. So a couple hard blocks and a soft block might come in handy. Maybe you take the soft block near the top of the mat. And then come to lying down, keeping the block maybe about a foot or so overhead. And then we'll take the hands, interlace the fingers, and then with the palms pressing away, start to extend the arms up the mat. And maybe you'll bring them to rest somewhere on your prop. And don't worry too much about what this looks like. And if it feels better to have the elbows a little bent or any other version of the shape, then go for it. Just take your time settling yourself in and see if the rest of the body needs a little more support here or anything like that. And you can add that in. And check in with the shoulders. And check in with the arms, wrists, fingers. Once you feel set up and ready, you can close down the eyes. And just be with the sensation through the hands. And if the hands are interlaced, you can gently release them. Maybe wiggle the fingers a little, you can wiggle the toes. Rolling over to one side as you feel ready. And then supported by the hands, coming up to find any comfortable seated position. And maybe sitting off of your soft block as well. Now we're going to move on to stretch the fingers, and we'll do two at a time, so same one on either side. And depending on where you're sitting, if you want to use a little table or something, you can. I'm just going to do it on the side here. And you could also use your block as well if you need something a little bit closer. So we're going to start off with the pointer finger, and we're going to curl the pointer finger in. So press the back of the finger to the floor just a little bit, and then imagine dragging it forward in space until you find a stretch through the outside of that knuckle. Make sure it's nothing too intense, and maybe close down the eyes and be with your breath. Awesome. Gently back out. Release the finger, maybe a little counter stretch. And then we'll move on to the middle finger. So curling that one under, pressing it gently to the floor, and then sliding the hands forward just a little until you find the stretch. And things may not feel completely symmetrical side to side. So if one side needs to look a little different than the other, then that's okay. When you're ready, find your stillness. Gently backing out. And now the ring finger, the same setup. And this one tends to not go as far, at least on me. Be with a stretch. Gently backing out. And lastly, for the pinky. Gently backing out here. Press the fingertips or the fingers to the floor and gently bend the hand up just for a counter stretch now. Awesome. And then we'll stay seated a little while longer. If you want to switch the cross of the legs, then go for it. Or if you need to shake out the legs a little bit. Now we'll do the thumbs and we'll do these one at a time. So for the first stretch, start to guide the thumb towards the forearm, kind of on the outside. So like you're stretching it open. You can use the other hand any way you like. You can also rest that wherever it is. Gently release. And now for the other stretch, imagine taking the thumb towards the inside of the forearm. And be with the sensation. And gently release. And just roll this wrist a few times in each direction. And then we'll do that on the other side too. So now taking the thumb towards the outside of the forearm, and it can look completely different to the first, so don't worry about it. Just look for that nice stretch through the inside of the thumb. Gently backing out of the stretch, and then switching to the counter stretch. So thumb towards the inside of the forearm now. And find your pain-free expression. Awesome. Gently release here as well. And give the wrists a little shake out. You can wiggle the fingers. And then when you're ready, you can release the legs, maybe a little windshield wiper, extend and tap. Awesome. And then swing the legs around and come and find a kneeling shape. Now, it's up to you if you want to add the foot stretch in or not. So if you want to skip it, this will still be a nice stretch for the ankles. So you could be in this shape. If you want to come to that underfoot stretch too, then think about tucking all of the toes under. And then just find the version that doesn't feel too intense. So if this is too much at any point, you can come up to a standing kneel, you can pulse in and out. And if you want to release sooner than what I cue, then you can also untuck the feet. Now extend the arms out in front and then have the thumbs pointing down so the backs of the hands are together. We'll cross the right hand over the left and then interlace the fingers. Now bring the thumbs towards the chest, through, up, and over, and then let the hands hang wherever they want. If you can, close down the eyes and be with whatever you're feeling here. Come on up. You can just release the hands any way you like. Give them a little shake. Untuck the feet if they were tucked, and just give the tops of the legs a little tap. Awesome. And then we're going to set up for the second side. So if you'd like to tuck the toes under one more time, then go for it. And again, you can release whenever you need to. So just listen to your body. If it gets too much, or if you find that you're just like clenching, not enjoying the stretch of the arms, then yeah, do what you need to do. So arms forward, thumbs pointing down. And this time we'll cross the left arm over the right to interlace the fingers. The thumbs towards the chest, through, up and over, and then release the arms. Find your breath here. Come on up and then release the arms. Give them a little shake out, a little flap. And then untuck the feet. Give the tops of the knees a little tap, or the tops of the feet. Maybe even taking hips towards the heels. You can also lean back a little bit, maybe do a counter stretch for the tops of the ankles. Awesome. And then when you're ready, find your heart blocks. We're going to set up for a squat. If squat doesn't work for you for any reason, then you can find a seat with the feet wide or butterfly legs or something like that. And if you're coming to the squat, then I'll invite you to use your heart blocks to make yourself a seat. Just to take the pressure out of the lower body so that the focus can be more on the arm expression. And we're going to set up for eagle arms. So you can take the left arm underneath the right. You could take hands to shoulders. If you have space, you can bring the hands together, maybe the backs of the hands. And then we're going to think about rounding here. So just make sure that that feels okay for the spine. If you're coming with me, you might lift the elbows a little bit just to find that space. And then bring the elbows towards the chest, the chin towards the chest as well, and start to round your way in. Make sure that the ankles, knees, low back are all happy with the shape. And when you're ready, you settle into it. You can release the arms down here, and then maybe with the hands to the floor, start to lift yourself back up. Before we set up the second side with the arms, if there's anything you need to adjust in the legs, then go for it. And this time we'll take the right arm underneath the left, and then interlacing or taking hands to shoulders. Lift the elbows a little, find that length, and then elbows towards the belly, chin towards the chest, and start to round your way back in. Gently release the arms, and fingertips find the floor and start to unravel the body. And from here, we'll take the hands back to the floor, start to lift the hips up, heel toe the feet a little closer together. Maybe pedal out the legs a little bit just to give the back line of the legs a little bit of a stretch. We're going to set up for a forward fold here. You can also do this from a seat. And then think about interlacing the hands at the low back. If you can't quite reach, then you can keep the hands at the low back, or you can find a different kind of bind altogether. If you're coming with me, think about maybe even reaching the arms up and over, see what that feels like for the shoulders. And see what kind of a stretch you want here too. If you want to target the back a little bit more, you might think about maybe even bending the knees, or think about extending the legs, see what that feels like for a stretch. So there's no right and wrong, just find something that you feel comfortable with, something that's pain-free, that still allows you to breathe. And if the arms start to go numb or tingly, you can lower them at any point. If the arms are overhead, gently lower them down. Maybe bring the hands to the legs and come and find a halfway lift. Pausing here with the support of the hands, take a breath or two, stretch from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Awesome. And then slowly lower the hips down to the floor. If you like, you can come and find easy pose. If you'd rather end with a Shavasana shape, then you can do that. You could also find child's pose if you like. You can switch the cross of the legs to the slightly awkward side. And come and find a comfortable seat if you're with me. Settling the hips to the floor, lengthening the spine. A slight tuck of the chin in towards the throat. Maybe resting the hands on the knees, pointing down or pointing up. Find your stillness here. Let that all settle in. And gently bring your attention back to the space, back to the body. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Perhaps connecting the hands in front of the heart, bowing the chin towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Yin practice, and my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your day.